Aloha everybody, Mike Drutar, Principal Broker over at Next Home Paradise Realty. Hey guys, I'm at home, I'm editing the video right now, and for some reason the camera for the first couple minutes of the video was focused on the wall behind me and not my face, so it's a little bit blurry. Push through it, it goes away. I'm really sorry, but I'm not shooting that whole video again. I got some good information. I hope you stay with it. Thanks, guys. Today, we are going to talk about what was just released recently, and that is the Hawaii County short-term vacation rental study. This was commissioned by the Hawaii County Council last year. I know that doesn't sound very sexy, but there's a lot of information in here that's really going to be important for people who are looking at getting into real estate investment of short-term rentals. It also dispels a number of myths that were out there. This study was pretty comprehensive, so I wanted to share this information with you for people who are operating short-term vacation rentals, who are thinking about investing in it. Maybe people who have a connection to our Hawaii County Council people or the mayor here in Hawaii, so that they can take a look at this information and really see how it affects a lot of people here. There's some pretty big myths out there, and these have been in place for a while. When I was serving on the Government Affairs Committee back in 2018, and the county was doing its first look at changing the rules and the laws around short-term vacation rentals, one of the common things that were said out there by people who were against short-term vacation rentals was, if you get rid of short-term vacation rentals, all these properties will convert to long-term rentals and the prices for housing in Hawaii County would come down. And none of us really thought that was true, but it was just a fun talking point that the other side could beat you over the head with. And this study actually completely blows that myth out of the water. I don't think people can say that anymore because we now have the data that shows that people who have short-term vacation rental properties by and large would not convert those into long-term rentals if they were prohibited from doing short-term vacation rentals. It really seems like more of what we've been saying all along. So we're going to talk about taxes, revenue, the numbers of people who use short-term vacation rentals. We're going to get into some of the data. Now, this is a long report, and if you want to get a copy of it, just email me. I've got my email address right there, and tell me that you want a copy of the report. I will send it out to you. It's got quite a few pages. I'm going to focus right now for this on the summary, and I'm going to read straight from the summary. I'll interject a few opinions here and there, but by and large, I'm just going to be going straight from their summary on the impacts of short-term vacation rentals. In 2024, STVR lodging revenue on Hawaii is estimated at approximately $710 million, which is comparable to hotel room night revenue on the island. So short-term vacation rentals make up quite a bit of the economy, and it's not that much different from the hotel industry. According to the demand side survey, 41% of visitors surveyed stayed in short-term vacation rentals. This really aligns with what we've been seeing for a long time. People are traveling differently than they did many years ago. People want to stay in a place where you can have multiple bedrooms often, or you can have your own kitchen. People are not really desiring the hotel experience nearly as much as they used to, and 41% of the visitors here to Hawaii Island preferred a short-term vacation rental. STVRs contribute significantly to the island's tourism economy through spending and on food and beverage, transportation, shopping, and entertainment. The average per person daily spending outside of lodging is $132. So everyone who comes and stays at an STVR spends $132 outside of the STVR out in the community. That's money that really goes into our community and helps support a lot of jobs, and we're going to get into how many jobs this supports in just a moment. Based on AirDNA data and survey responses, this equates to a total economic impact of $565 to $862 million on the island from STVR spending outside of lodging. So we're seeing, I think the number was $710 million on lodging, and then another $565 to $862 million outside of lodging that's also going into the community, supporting local businesses. This is a big deal. Now, this is really important. The survey showed that 24% of short-term vacation rental users would not have come to Hawaii Island if the lodging option were unavailable. That would represent a loss of $112 million to $170 million in annual STVR lodging revenue. For Hawaii County, this equates to $3.35 million to $5.11 million in lost Hawaii County transient accommodation tax revenue. So the county would lose $3.35 to $5.11 million in tax revenue. And I know they're not going to spend any less. So where do you think they're going to make up that lost revenue? They're going to tax the people who live here even more to make up for that lost revenue. This is really a big deal. So basically, if you want to get rid of short-term vacation rentals, you're going to see just on Hawaii Island, in tax revenue, in transient accommodation tax, not all the other taxes that come from people spending, but just taxes on lodging from transient accommodation tax, $3 to $5 million in lost revenue. Non-lodging visitor spending losses would range in $136 to $207 million if STVR restrictions were implemented. That's a lot of money. All right, let's talk about jobs. Short-term vacation rentals support a lot of jobs here on Hawaii Island, and here's some numbers to look at. From a labor perspective, the supply side survey found that each short-term vacation rental unit supports an average of 1.6 and 4 part-time employees. Limiting STVR operations would not only reduce visitor spending and owner income, but would also eliminate jobs and wages tied to the STVR sector. Based on average 2024 listings, this would equate to a loss of more than 12,000 full-time jobs and more than 30,000 part-time jobs. While some of these jobs may be absorbed into the hotel market, it is unlikely that all employment would be recaptured. So if you continue to limit short-term vacation rentals and you continue to restrict them, you are going to see fewer jobs on Hawaii Island. It's that simple. The study goes pretty far and talks about some of the implications of all this, and I'm going to read from a number of their bullet points here for you. Survey results showed that if STVRs were unavailable, 24% of visitors would not have made the trip, 26% would have stayed in a full service or luxury hotel, 19% would have rented a timeshare or condo, and 14% would have chosen a limited service hotel. This indicates that restricting STVRs will result in a loss of close to 1/4 of lodging, food and beverage, transportation, shopping, and entertainment spending attributed to short-term vacation rentals. Hawaii County STVR market primarily appeals to budget-conscious travelers, larger groups, and frequent STVR users, while the hotel market is dominated by luxury properties catering to more affluent users. Next bullet point I found really interesting. All visitors surveyed, regardless of lodging type, prioritized nature-based outdoor recreation. STVR visitors were more likely by 79% to engage in these activities as well as local culture. People who come and stay at short-term vacation rentals are more likely to engage in outdoor recreation and take in the local culture than people who go and stay at these fancy resorts and oftentimes never even leave the hotel. The next part talks about the fallacy that's been out there for a very long time that said something like, if you get rid of short-term vacation rentals, that will open up lodging to people for long-term rentals. If STVRs were restricted on the island, only 4% of owners and operators would definitely convert their listed units to long-term rentals, while 68% indicated that they would not. This suggests that the likelihood of STVRs converting to long-term housing for residents is minimal. That's really a big deal. That completely blows out of the water that old argument that if you converted all these short-term rentals into long-term rentals, that would solve the housing crisis. It just won't. The next point is probably going to surprise the number of people who have been against short-term vacation rentals for a long time. They think that everyone's against short-term vacation rentals, but the truth is completely different. Resident sentiment towards tourism is largely positive, with respondents recognizing its importance to the local economy, job creation, and cultural vibrancy. Most do not believe STVRs have negatively impacted their neighborhood or quality of life. While 56% perceive that housing costs and availability have increased due to tourism, 61% that STVRs have not deterred them from renting or purchasing a property. You can still find a rental, you can still buy a home. STVRs out there are not going to eliminate your ability to do either of those things. More than 75% of STVR owners operate only one rental unit, and 54% rely on the income to cover housing-related costs. Only 20% of owners view their property as a pure investment, suggesting that most short-term vacation rentals are operated by individuals with a personal financial stake rather than large-scale investors. This is something that really has been lost in this conversation for a long time. I feel like our county council people haven't necessarily seen that. They've definitely heard it, at least they did last year when they were trying to regulate short-term vacation rentals. Last year they were listening. This year they passed Bill 47 quite quickly, right before this survey came out, perhaps coincidentally. A lot of people rely on these short-term vacation rentals to pay their mortgage and to make it here in Hawaii. Listen, it's expensive to live here in Hawaii. The costs are high, taxes are high. It's just it's the price of paradise. We talk about it all the time. And a lot of people rely on renting out a unit under their home or attached to their home or a bedroom in a hosted rental as a way to make some money and be able to afford their life here. So when these are regulated by the county, they really are kind of attacking the people who live and work here on Hawaii Island. When they're trying to push people to hotels, the money that goes into a hotel, by and large, that goes away. These are large multinational corporations, often publicly traded. That money goes to Wall Street instead of staying here on Ali'i Drive. And that's a real big difference with short-term vacation rentals versus the hotel industry. At the end of the summary, they actually have a recommendation that they put on paper, and this is where the rubber meets the road. And I think the people who are working on this at the county really have to pay close attention. Based on this study's findings, STVRs contribute significant economic value to Hawaii County and its communities. Resident survey respondents indicated that the community is largely in support of tourism and understands the importance of visitor spending to local economy and quality of life. Additionally, case studies in STVR policies worldwide have not identified substantial data that proves bans successfully address housing issues. The economic value of the short-term vacation rental industry is substantial, and a county-wide ban would not be in the best interest of the county's economy and community at large. That's it, folks. STVRs help the community. There's no other way to put it. The company recommends that the Hawaii County continues to enable STVRs while building on existing 2020 to 2025 Hawaii Island Tourism Strategic Plan, which seeks to align tourism growth with residents' quality of life in a sustainable, community-based manner. That's a pretty big deal. I think for a lot of us, when we were told that this study was going to be commissioned, we kind of expected that the study was going to be created in a way to get to the conclusion that some of the anti-STVR people wanted, and that's not what happened. I have to applaud the methodology of Hunden Partners. They took an objective approach to this entire process. They really looked at STVRs. They took a data-driven approach. They surveyed tons of different people on both the supply side and the demand side, and they really captured the importance of short-term vacation rentals to our economy. I have the entire survey here for you to read. It's 20-something pages, I believe. Let's see here. I'm going all the way to the bottom. 141 pages. Listen, if you're one of my data nerds out there, here you go. This is a big bunch of information for you guys to pile into. Shoot me an email. There's my email address right there below. I will get this out to you if you're interested. Even if you're not in Hawaii County, I think these survey results are going to be really helpful for people in other counties as well. I know there's been crazy short-term vacation bans on Oahu and on Maui. Like, Maui's gone off the deep end. If you're looking to invest in Hawaii, I wouldn't even touch Maui anymore, frankly. Bring your money over to the Big Island. We'll put it to work for you. And if you want to know more about some investment changes, stay tuned, click like and subscribe, because there have been some real big changes in investment write-offs in the last year that people who put properties into service this year or next year have the ability to write off a ton of income. Bonus depreciation, boy, we're going to have to talk about it in another video soon. I hope you like this. Like and subscribe. I'll see you again real soon.